Hello. This Sunday, May 5th, we're going to be looking at the second part of our study in Jude, the letter from Jude. And as we talked about last week, Jude is a brother, one of the siblings of Jesus, but instead chooses to identify himself as a bondservant, someone who's willingly going to give over the rest of his life to the ministry of Christ. And he addresses his letter to those who are called, beloved, and kept of God, stirring up those images of a shepherd who keeps his sheep, who tends to his sheep, the Aaronic blessing from Numbers where the Lord bless you and keep you. That we are called, we are chosen, we are beloved, dearly loved and tended to by the love of God in Christ Jesus. And then he goes on to say that he initially was writing the letter so that they could just to discuss their common salvation that is in Christ Jesus. But instead, things were starting to happen internally within the congregations, which Jude believed needed to be brought to light. And he said that he wanted to alert his readers to the fact of these things that are taking place so that they could earnestly contend for the faith. And so this week we're going to look at what some of those things are. And it's interesting that Jude speaks of those things, the different people who have crept in unnoticed, the different teachings and kind of false doctrines that had crept in. And he likens it to some of the Old Testament deceptions. He likens it to the way of Cain and the error of Balaam and the rebellion of Korah. And then he refers to a few things that are kind of extra scriptural, references to the book of Enoch, and talks about this idea that there was a dispute for the body of Moses. And so we'll look at some of those interesting things. But overall, Jude describes these people who have crept in. He says, these are those who are hidden reefs in your love feasts, when they feast with you without fear, caring for themselves, clouds without water, carried along by the winds, autumn trees without fruit. He just stirs up these rich and intense images of what's taking place. The hidden reefs, those things that are just right below the surface of the water, and to all appearances, things look okay, but these are the things that ships run aground and cause damage and injure not only the cargo, or cause damage to the cargo, but cause injury to those who are on the vessels. And that's how serious Jude is about warning the church about these things that are creeping into it. It's one thing to realize the world is going to be opposed, or the world is going to be rejecting the message of Christ. But Jude's intention of this letter is to warn the church about those things that have crept into it. And again, we'll read near the end in the fourth week of our study of Jude that there's some pretty simple and powerful ways that we can earnestly contend for the faith. But until we kind of get a grasp of what those things are, I think it's going to be important for us to focus on those. So we're going to look at those things the next couple weeks in week 2 and week 3 about those things that are hidden reefs among us and things that we need to be aware of in these last times. So I hope you can join us for our second week, the study on the letter from Jude. Join us at 8:30 this Sunday in the adult study room. Hope to see you there.